Made in Space was founded in 2010 with really the kind of singular goal to help people live and work in space better. The ability to actually make things in space is crucial. The more sort of maybe near-term reasons have a lot to do with launch logistics. That every single thing that we have ever sent to space gets built and assembled and tested extensively and then smashed into the top of a launch fairing on top of a rocket. And rockets are amazing, and this is a really effective way to send things to space, but it's also a very expensive way to send things to space, and it also has inherent volume constraints. We started out teaming with folks at Marshall Space Flight Center and developed this guy right here, which is 3D print. This is the very first zero-gravity 3D printer that was ever built. Through about a 1.5 or 2 year development period, we built this piece of hardware and flew it to station, successfully manufactured the very first objects off the face of the planet.
We had just printed a socket head for a wrench. We find out that for some reason or another, Butch actually misplaced his ratchet. It's nowhere to be found. It floated away, and we had about 7 days until our next commanding window for the printer. And we threw out this idea that, hey, what if in the next week we design a completely new tool and we get certified and we print it in space? 5 days later, we were ready to command and build that part. And 2 hours go by from us sending a digital file to the space station to astronaut holding the physical item in his hand. It is a plastic ratchet. It is definitely torque limited. To me, this is really kind of sets a stage for what we're doing as a company. If Butch were on Mars, the story is really the same. Maybe the speed of light's controls it a little bit differently, but not that much. So 2 hours and you can put parts in an astronaut's hand. If that ratchet was on a rocket and we launched it at the same time, there's no way it could get there as quickly. What we're doing right now is this is our next gen printer. It's called the Additive Manufacturing Facility. It's a commercial facility. So the printer that's there now is a science experiment that we're doing with NASA to learn about how do you make a printer work in space, what are the differences, and so on. We've learned a lot over the past year, and that's got us to this point where we're putting the next printer up. But the most important part is that it's available for anybody on the planet to have access to. So Made in Space operates basically a print service on space stations. One day, when you don't have to send all the materials, the image on the left is a design of a robot that could manufacture structures on another planetary surface using the resources found there. So it's kind of the crowning achievement of in situ resource utilization. And then the other really exciting one to us is just building the things that are unlaunchable. They're too big to go into a fairing unless you're assembling them on orbit. They're too fragile to survive launch. So the structures and the things in space that you just never could have had before because they're just way too big or fragile.